In this video, I share how and why the work works, how to become more self-aware, and I show you at the very end how to not take yourself too seriously. Enjoy. And I don't say that with some level of, I think I'm cool. Honestly, with the amount of focus, energy, and time and money I've put into this, it'd be pretty weird if I didn't know what I was talking about by now. If I told you that I had spent the last 6 years studying French and hiring tutors, and I'd spent $70,000 in French teachers in the last 6 years. Quick break to take responsibility for the listening that I'm speaking into. I know when I say this stuff about money, it brings up a lot of stuff for you. Trust me, I know because it used to for me. When I started working with my coach in a group coaching capacity, it was a $2,500 thing for 3 months. When I sent him the money, my first thought was, oh my God, I just got scammed. I'm never gonna see that guy again. I didn't believe in the value of coaching. I didn't believe in the money aspect of it. It made me sick. And then I took a chance. I did some group coaching. I was like, oh my goodness, I've changed my life more in 3 months than I have in 5 years. A lot of stuff starting to click. Now, I think that 5 years was important. So if you haven't been doing the work and you haven't really made a lot of progress, whatever that means for you, then don't worry about the money. Like I was in no position to hire a coach and pay him 60 grand 5 years ago. I would have said, you're crazy. I would have said that doesn't exist. I didn't know this existed 5 years ago. So if you're feeling that way, I get it. I want to take responsibility for that. I know a lot of people are listening, and this probably sounds really weird, and it probably sounds like I'm bragging. I get it. I totally get it. But please stick with me and understand this was a very foreign concept to me just a year ago, let alone 2, 3, 4 years ago. And that's after I had been doing all this work, and I'm so interested, I'm so dedicated, I'm motivated. I've gone to a couple conferences that were, a few $1,000s or something like that. I bought a lot of books, but when you get down to that thing, like what? Trust me, I had to get over a lot of limiting beliefs ultimately about my self-worth. Am I worth it? So anyway, I want to mention that because I don't take it lightly that I don't mean to just throw this around and expect you to be with me. Of course you're not with me. I wouldn't have been with me a year ago. So I want to take responsibility for that. Okay, continuing. Or more specifically, $60,000 on one French teacher that I worked with every other week for 2 hours intensively for the last year. And I told you that I took trips to France where I didn't speak any English, and I started hanging out with more people who were bilingual and more people who spoke only French. That was the only language they could speak. So you get the picture. How good would you expect me to be at French? And if I were not good at French, wouldn't that be weird? Wouldn't you be like, man, how could you not be? Does anyone know anyone who's spent all that time learning a language who isn't close to fluent in it? Well, I have been learning the language of transformation, of personal transformation, personal growth, personal development, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people call it a lot of different things. And again, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to connect dots and say, the thing that you're really after and what the people at the very top in this arena do is much more similar to all these other spaces than people realize. I've had the luck and good fortune, and I've been like the Forrest Gump of personal development. I just stumble into one thing after another that's like, wow, like there's a there there. Okay, and there's a there there. Wait a minute, there are a lot of places where there's a there there. And now they're all reinforcing each other, being like a well-rounded person with this stuff. And again, to be very clear, I am not taking credit for any of this. I didn't create myself. I didn't pick my parents. I didn't pick my genes. I didn't pick the environment I grew up in. I didn't pick the elementary through high school that I went to. I didn't pick every influence that's ever impacted me consciously and unconsciously. I'm a product of the universe. And if you think that sounds woo-woo, because I would have, like some number of years ago, I'd been like, I'm a product of the universe, like what? Like, this is how bad it used to be. I used to have the thought, this is great. I once took the position that I was good at writing, and I was a good writer, which I am, but quick pause. If you're thinking, ooh, he's bragging, what do you mean you're good at writing? I hear you. I used to feel that way. Every time I ever heard someone say they were good at something, I thought they were bragging because I didn't believe in myself. I believe that I'm good at writing, and with all due humility, and as I'm about to go on to say, I didn't create myself. So I'll go on to explain this, but I just want to make sure I take responsibility here for the listening that I'm speaking into. In case you're feeling like, oh, he's bragging, I know, and you're right, and I used to think that everyone was bragging, and I was right. And then I started believing in myself more, and I was like, wait a minute. The reason that I think they are lying, or the reason that I think they're bragging, is because I don't believe in myself. Someone tells me they believe in me, I think they're lying because I don't believe in myself. Someone tells me they're good at something, I think they're cocky because I don't believe in myself. So I'll go on to explain this and really dive into like how I'm not taking credit for this at all, but I wanted to make that quick aside. All right, back to the video. The point of the story. The point of the story is that I was taking credit for that. I was saying, I'm a good writer. And I was talking to my brother about this. My brother was like, well, yeah, thanks to dad, basically. And I was like, thanks to dad? No, like I've always been a good writer. And like in 7th grade, I remember one of my teachers accusing me of having my dad, who was an English major, write my paper for me. And I was submitting that as evidence that I had done it on my own because I was born this way. You were born what way? With half of whose genes? Like I couldn't even connect that dot. That's how like closed-minded and blind I was to the way the world works and to the way human beings work. So in some points I'm talking to all the way back then, like 24-year-old Trevor. And every year since then, I continued to grow, continued to make progress. And now it's really paid off exponentially, but I know I can speak to where I was at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and that's different people. So like whoever you are, you very well may be some version of my slightly to more younger self. Okay, that's really enough. So please subscribe, like, follow along. Remember those buttons. Because I know no one's trying to see that dancing. So like, if and when I get to, I don't know, like 10,000 followers, I'll be like, I promise I'll stop dancing, but until I get 10K. And then once I get 10K, I'll stop dancing when I ask people to click and stuff. So that's how you can get me to stop. Subscribe, tell your friends and family and coworkers and everyone else, hey, there's this like new guy on YouTube, and he's a total train wreck, and it's fun to watch, but like sometimes he says stuff that kind of makes me think, so, you know, check him out. And that's my pitch. I love you all. Bye.